So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all everywhere. I'm Tanetta, and so today I'm going to be discussing. I guess it's still under stalking. It's just really a bad relationship, um, and sorry about that. Just really a bad relationship, and looking out for the red flags and things, what had happened to me, like realizing the red flags. Nevertheless, I'm going to get to a spot that I can sit at. I was in a relationship, and I wasn't in a relationship per se, there was a man who worked at the same agency that I worked at. Was a gentleman, gorgeous man. All the women thought he was gorgeous, and he took a liking to me, and I was like, what? And I was a single mom with 2 children, and had a foster daughter at the time. And so I think I had 2 foster daughters at the time, teenagers. And so he asked me to go out, and we worked for the same agency, but not the same department. We were in 2 totally different facilities, and so like far away from each other. And so he asked me, hey, would you like to go out? Exchange phone numbers. And I was like, okay, cool. And I think I tried to play hard to get in the beginning because I really was playing. Like, maybe I wasn't. He was cute. So anyway, we went out, and beautiful. He picked a beautiful place. Brother had a good head on his shoulder, so it seemed. Excellent job, and not that I'm materialistic, but a nice little hoopty. Had his own little house, and I was like, okay. I believe he had a son, but anyway, he was cool peeps. He seemed to be. We would talk on the telephone. It was good. At the time, I wasn't ready for a relationship. Nothing serious. I wasn't being intimate. It's just kind of my forte was like, I'm not ready to engage in anything. I don't want to start anything that I can't finish. And I knew that a relationship wasn't something that I wanted. Plus, I was still really feeling this brother out. So, and he was nice. I would take him plates. I would go over to my mom's house, and he didn't live too far from my mom. So I would go over to my mom's house, and she would say, oh, how's he doing? Go ahead and take him a plate. I think we had a party over there, and she was like, yeah, go take him a plate. My mom knew him because he fixed computers, and so he was fixing my mother's computer. Okay, that cookie was calling out my name. I made it. It was calling out my name. Okay. Anyway, so so he was cool peeps, whatever. My mom thought he was cool. My friends thought he was cool. My coworkers, rather. I got this long one just hanging out. And fix my hair so I can swim every day. Anyway, so he was cool, but then when we first talked, he said, okay, well, cool, I don't want anything serious either. We'll just hang out. We're just homie friends. We couldn't put the lover in there because I wasn't active. And he was cool with that. He seemed to be cool with that. And he called me and said, I want to be more. And I was like, no, I'm just not ready for that. And he started calling my job like every single day, like calling it, like calling the office, like not calling my cell, just calling the office. And I'd be like, I'm working, whatever. And we had a training coming up, and he was like, I want you to sit in the front row. I can't even remember, but for instance, he was like, I want you to sit in the third row from the front, the first seat, so I can keep an eye on you. I'm like, what? I was like, oh, I got my coworkers, my sister, she works there. And he was like, I don't care, that's where I want you to sit, so you need to persuade them to move over where you are. And so I got off the phone with him, and I immediately told my coworker, the two women that I was working with, I told them, and then I told my supervisor. I was like, it's really uncomfortable, it sounds a little controlling, I don't know what to do with the situation. My supervisor asked me, she was like, are you guys intimate? I was like, no, I haven't been. I haven't even kissed him, so other than a typical goodnight kiss, but no tongue, none of that. I was like, I barely even held his hand, I held his arm when we were at the water. So I think we went out twice, and so it was like, no, show me where he lived, and so it was a nice little cute house. We didn't do anything. That was it, there was no fondling, no nothing. And so my supervisor was like, I just want to know. And I was like, no, it hasn't been. And, I'd be straight with you. I called her mom anyway, so I'm very direct and transparent, always has been. To shorten the story, she's like, don't worry about it, we'll devise a plan. And so it was all strategized when we got there. My sister knew, her facility knew. So between both facilities, both supervisors, they were like, oh, we're all sitting over here today, we're sitting as a group today. And we had all agreed, even like the whole entire staff had agreed, we're all gonna sit together so that we can protect Tanetta. And so they moved to a certain spot, and I had texted them and said, hey, I can't sit there, I have to sit, I don't think, did I text him, or I think we had cell phones but we weren't texting. But anyway, I called him and said, hey, I can't sit there because I have to sit over here. And he said, you do as I say. And I was like, I have to respect my supervisor. So as he was maybe I didn't call him, I think I told him in person, he was trying to get me to sit somewhere else. My supervisor came over and said, Tanetta, let's go, we're sitting over here, it's important that we sit as a team, we talked about this. And then she turned to him and said hi, and because she knew who he was, and was cordial and was like, how you doing, and blah blah blah, you about to get this girl in trouble, come on over here, girl. And was like, okay, cool. So afterwards he apologized to me, and I was like, yeah, that was kind of harsh. He was like, I was just playing with you. And as things went on, he was like, I want to get serious. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm just really not there. One, I seen the red flags. Two, I really wasn't there. And so being honest, I had a pending ex-husband, and so pending. And so he said, I want this to be more. And I said, I thought you said you didn't want more. I thought you said, you were looking for something really platonic, cool, somebody you can chill with, and, I don't want to be sexually active. So, if you want to leave me alone because that's not where I want to be, I understand that too. Let's shorten the story again. It moved to him calling me on the phone saying, I want to learn how to love. Because I said, I thought you didn't want to be in love. I thought you said that's not your forte. And he said, well, I want to learn how to love. And I think that came because I called him and said, hey, I'm probably going to be looking for something more serious which was really just to derail him. And he said, well, I want to learn how to love. I want to learn to be in that space. That's how that went. I'm trying to remember it all. And I was like, it just gave me time to think about that. To go back to my coworkers and say, I don't know what to do. This is what I said, and it's not working. And they said, okay, well, tell him you're getting back with your ex-husband, pending ex. And so I said, hey, you know what? My ex just got back in town, and he is the father of my children, and we are legally married. And so he wants to withdraw paperwork and start rekindling things. We want to reconcile. And as his wife, I have to respect that. He said, oh, what? That's not right, Tanetta. And I was like, whoa, it's my husband. What are you talking about? And he was like, okay, you're right. So he started calling the office. And when you call from any other office branch, the number comes through. So he started calling, and he would hang up. And any one of us can answer. Everybody could see the caller IDs on all phones. And so usually the director did not answer the phone. And so she would see it as well. And I kept telling her, like, look, he keeps calling and he hangs up. So she started answering these calls that were from the main office, hanging up. And so he also had family who worked at the facility we were at. And so he would drive up there. And it was almost intimidation. I worked late. And I usually was one of the last people who would leave. And so it was like intimidation. He would just drive, let his car be seen, sit in front, go see his family, and then just sit in the car. So I would just ignore and just keep working. And then, there's a couple times where I called my coworker, and they were like, you know what, I'm going to be there when you get off. I call friends, and they'd walk me out. And I told the facility manager there that actually managed the facility, and they would walk me out as well. And then we changed my hours, so I would come in early morning so I could leave. And then my supervisor was like, why don't you take a few days off for sick time, just to kind of, derail him. It's not like he's not going to know you don't work here. He works at the main office. Okay. So I took that time off, and then I came back and had to get my mother's computer back. So he said, oh, your mom's computer's ready. Okay. I'm getting sick. And phone is dying. So I agreed, my mom said, can you bring it here? I'll be here at her house. Blah, blah, blah. He was like, okay. So he brought the computer. Sorry, make sure my charger is charging. Okay, it is. Sorry about that. Anyway, so then after that, he kind of acted normal, like his self, the person that I met. And we were having, I don't know, if a Thanksgiving party was some kind of party, Christmas party, and because he had hurt his leg, he was like, hey, can you come and come visit? So I did. And that cookie is calling my name again. So I brought him a plate, being nice. Thought he'd calm down. And He was like, oh, thanks. He was normal. He was cool. At that time, when I was like, went to give him a hug, he kind of grappled me, like was touching me and wanted a kiss. And so was backing up, and I was like, trying to be, oh man, I'm not going there, blah blah blah. So he's like, okay. And I'm trying to keep them in order because it happened so long ago, all the details of what had happened. Nevertheless, he was acting like everything was fine. I left him alone. We weren't talking. And he called me. He was like, hey, I really want to sit down and talk to you and, apologize to you. And blah, blah, blah. Can you come over? I really want to talk. And I said, So my play brother was there, and he was like, go ahead and tell me, yeah, I'll be there to watch your back. I said, yeah, sure. So the plan was that I would go and meet him at his house. And my play brother was supposed to come right behind me. I'm kind of glad he didn't, but at the same token, there is that wonder what would have happened kind of thing. To get to the story, when I got there were bullets on the table. And he said, yeah, I have a bullet with your name on it. What? Literally, there was a bullet with my name on it. It had been cut. I forgot what it's called. But it had been cut at the tip. A hollow tip with these cuts. So that when it would go inside and pierce, it would split in 4 different ways. Kind of guarantee that it hit something serious or that it would kill me. He said, yeah, that's your bullet. What the heck? So I'm looking for my brother, and he doesn't show, and I don't know what's going on. So he proceeds to lock the door and tell me, you're not gonna ever leave out of here. So at that point, I'm thinking, man, I'm going to die. He loads the gun with my bullet. He loads them with all bullets and puts that one in. And he proceeded to, he kidnapped me. Told me I wasn't leaving. Told me I was a tease. Honestly, I hadn't did anything other than just be his friend. I didn't want to be more. I seen red flags. I did not think the red flags would cost me my life. I thought I'll just, we do it what we're told to do. Like, oh, just when you see the red flags, you pull away from that. And so I'm thinking, somebody's talked to him. He's in a good state of mind. And okay, cool. Not knowing that I'm going to get there and there's literally a bullet with my name on it. I'm familiar with the hollow tips and the cut, so I knew very well what it was made to do. And very devastating to see a bullet with your actual name inscribed on it. He proceeded to rape me with the gun, or sodomize. Not sodomize. Just he put the gun inside of my vagina and raped me with a loaded gun. I didn't know if it was going to go off at any time. I didn't know if that was how I was going to die. All I could think about were my 2 kids. and where the hell my brother was, my play brother. I was grateful that he never showed up. After that, he proceeded to rape me on a floor in a bedroom. He raped me himself. We had never had sex prior to that. So he raped me himself with the gun in his hand. He kept me in the house for hours talking crap. Told me how he never made the police, squad, and how he did everything but didn't make the squad, and how I could never tell anybody because he has all his connections on the police force. And told me, you can go. While he still had the gun in his hand. It's like, you can go. Walk slow. You can leave. You're never going to tell anybody about this. I didn't tell anyone at first. I didn't know what to do. I did talk to my ex-husband. I told him what happened. And, for him, he knew, like, I'd been with him since I was 18, so he knew that I was kind of, like, naive to dating, or who to trust, how to trust. And so he just felt bad that things didn't work out with us to put me in that position. He kind of took things as it was his fault. And I finally shared it with my supervisor. We kept it on the low. My supervisor was upset. She did not want me to keep it quiet, but she understood and respected it. She said if he continues to harass, I'm going to file a complaint. He did it. Hadn't heard anything from him. And I was content with that. I was looking into other agencies to work for. And I got a call out the blue. My supervisor was like, hey, headquarters wants you. They want you down there in a meeting. And I was like, what's this about? And she was like, you'll find out when we get there. I was like, okay. And she was like, I'm not going to tell you anything. We'll find out when we get there. Okay. So we get there, and I find out that he's filed a complaint against me. It's been like maybe 2 months. Maybe even 3. He's filed a complaint against me, and I'm like, what? The complaint is that I damaged his car. I damaged his car and threw eggs all over his car, and I scratched it, and that I'm constantly calling and harassing his office, and I call his cell phone. It was bad. And I was like, what? I don't even call him anymore. At the time, we had a cell phone record that got sent to you every single month. So I was like, you can look over my phone. I don't call him. He hasn't even called me. The job was like, my supervisor was like, I know for a fact. She's like, I don't know what happened, I don't know if Tanetta got upset or whatever. I can't say what she didn't do. But I can tell you that he was harassing her. So she stood by my side And she was told by the supervisor to be quiet. So I was like, are you kidding? Like, I'm being written up. I'm being warned to stop harassing him, that he's a handsome man and that it's hard when he lets people go. And I'm sitting there going, what? And my supervisor is like, I just don't think that he takes rejection well. We had to protect her at an event. And the top supervisor is like, well, we don't believe that. And she's like, Tanetta's personality. Well, love and sex makes you do all kind of things. And I was like, are you kidding? Are you kidding? Do you know the things that he's done to me that I haven't said anything about? And they were like, what? And I was like, he kidnapped me. He pulled out a gun on me. And they're like, oh, that's way over the top. And my supervisor's like, I know for a fact that it happened. Well, why didn't she report it? And my supervisor was like, because she was scared at the time. She hasn't been talking to him. And I'm like, I haven't done anything. And they were like, oh, you're going to lose your job, like, immediately. And I was like, are you kidding? So they were like, oh, you're on probation, and you have an agency stay away, and when he comes over to do anything at that agency, and she telling my supervisor, you'll have to have her removed or send her to a different facility. And I'm going, are you kidding? And I said, you know what? I'm just going to have a restraining order put on him. And the agency had said, well, we'll have our legal department advise him and we'll put a restraining order against you. What? Wait, what? And I'm going, are you kidding? Yeah, because you're reckless and all kind of things. And I was like, I have no idea I was just livid at the agency for not protecting me, livid that they just listened to everything he said and didn't hear what I had to say or my supervisor. And I was like, I have witnesses of the things that he's done, the calling, coming up to the actual facility. They just treated him like the golden boy. So the bottom line of this story is, one, if you see the red flags, you learn from your mistakes. So if you see the red flags, don't put yourself back into the situation like, oh, it's better now. And I grew up very naive. I didn't have anybody to teach me what was wrong, what was right. I really had to get a lot of the stuff from society. And there were a lot of things in my life that were so dysfunctional that I didn't know. The best part of me was always seeing the good in people. Was, okay, you're forgiven because God forgives me. But there were so many boundaries that I just didn't understand. And learn your boundaries. If you don't have anyone teaching you, it's important that you find someone to mentor you and teach you practical life skills, things that can help protect you in the future. If you see the red flags, if you see the orange flags, get away. I'm sure that I'm going to have lots of stories that say, hey, I'm a flag, and I didn't catch it, or I wanted to believe that they're better than what I saw. Get the support you need. Get the counseling that will help you. Find the right people who will support you. Get away, far, far away. This agency, I didn't know what I know today. I didn't know I could sue the agency. I didn't know so much My family didn't even know. And she never told my dad because I didn't want my dad to go to jail. But there was so much that I just didn't know. And I don't want that for anybody, male or female. Learn your boundaries, the limitations, the red flags, the orange flags, the yellow flags. Trust the uncomfortness. You can't make a person better by willing them better. It won't happen. I am so grateful that the bullet with my name on it did not penetrate me and kill me or leave me damaged for life. I'm grateful for being able to go home to my kids. I remember just holding them that night. So excited about loving them. Telling my parents how much I love them because I didn't know what he would do. I didn't know if he would mess with my parents. I didn't know. I was so scared. I was so fragile in my years back then. And I'm not anymore. I'm not a victim of that. And nor do you have to be. I keep looking over here, trying to get the information. I'm looking for it and I can't find it. And that's why I keep seeing this cookie. And it is me wanting to share the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-SAFE. 1-800-799-7233. Domestic violence is a crime. No matter how you slice it or dice it, it's a crime. It is hard. People don't want to do the fight against it. But for every step that somebody fights is a step worth it. I wish I would have done things differently. So some of the warning signs in domestic violence and relationships that when you're dating could be that he has access to firearms, or you realize that they do have firearms. They threaten to harm or kill your loved ones. They leave threatening notes or messages, or they spy on you, or they call on you when you don't want them to. They try to control your daily activities. They force you to have sex with them, even if you are in a relationship and you don't want to have sex. They become extremely jealous. They insult you and shame you and demean you. They act in ways that scare you. They destroy property and justify it later. They control who you see, where you go, what you do. They prevent you from working or going to school. Please get help. If you see the red flags, now is the time to flee. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-SAFE. 1-800-799-7233. Be safe.